Dive into the captivating world of roguelikes, roguelites, and Metroidvanias, where chance and exploration reign supreme. Discover how these dynamic genres evolved from humble beginnings into beloved staples of gaming culture. Join us as we unravel the rich history, inventive mechanics, and cultural impact that continue to shape the way we play today. Roguelikes started in the 1980s as a subgenre of role-playing games, heavily inspired by Dungeons and Dragons. At the forefront of this genre was a game called Rogue, released in 1980. The game featured a permanent death mechanic and procedurally generated dungeons, creating a unique experience where each playthrough was different. This was revolutionary at the time. Players had to strategize and think several steps ahead to survive, as death meant losing everything they'd collected. The term roguelike eventually arose to categorize games that shared these core mechanics. A typical characteristics checklist emerged, with the Berlin interpretation of 2008 outlining features such as turn-based gameplay, grid-based movement, and the necessity for permadeath, which essentially means when your character dies, that's it. You have to start over from the beginning. This loss of progress makes the victory taste that much sweeter when you finally succeed, as it adds an immense layer of tension. One misconception about roguelikes is that they're just difficult games. It's not just about dying. It's about the stories that emerge from failure. Each run can showcase personal growth as a player learns from previous mistakes. For instance, in NetHack, one of the most well-known roguelikes, players quickly recognize that the game's unpredictability is part of the charm. You might be doing all the right things, but one unfortunate encounter with an unseen monster can turn the tide dramatically. As we moved into the 1990s, the genre began to evolve. Newer titles incorporated roguelike elements but started to diverge from the rigid mechanics. Games like Embark introduced deeper fantasy lore and more complex character builds. Meanwhile, Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup focused on refining gameplay mechanics, featuring a streamlined user interface and a surprising accessibility for newcomers. This blend of hardcore roguelike elements and more approachable mechanics set the stage for what would eventually morph into the roguelite genre. Roguelites borrow the essential elements of roguelikes, randomly generated levels, permadeath, but offer a more forgiving experience. They often allow players to unlock permanent upgrades or features through successful runs, creating a sense of progression that often soothes the frustration of starting anew. A good example is Dead Cells, which incorporates a roguelite structure while being a Metroidvania at heart. You explore a large, interconnected world filled with distinct regions and challenges, but each run allows you to bolster your character's capabilities through accumulated resources. Some might argue that roguelites dilute the hardcore essence of roguelikes. However, many see these innovations as new avenues for creativity. Developers found ways to retain the thrill of unpredictability while introducing elements that heighten enjoyment. In Hades, for example, you can gradually unlock story elements and character backstories, providing narrative depth that classical roguelikes usually lacked. It marries the replayability of roguelikes with engaging storytelling. Meanwhile, the Metroidvania genre, named after the classic games Metroid and Castlevania, diverges significantly from roguelikes. While roguelikes are often turn-based and grid-like, Metroidvanias emphasize exploration in a sprawling, interconnected world. The gameplay often revolves around gaining new abilities, unlocking previously inaccessible areas, and building character progression through skill acquisition rather than resource accumulation. The idea that Metroidvanias have a linear progression might be misleading. Titles like Hollow Knight possess a non-linear approach where players can choose their path and face bosses in any order, introducing an organic sense of exploration. However, unlike roguelikes, when characters die in most Metroidvania games, players typically respawn at save points, keeping progress and upgrades intact. This difference shifts the focus from survival to exploration and mastery of increasingly complex environments. As these genres have progressed, they've often influenced each other. A hybrid of roguelikes and Metroidvanias has emerged, often referred to as Roguevania. In games like La Mulana and Dead Cells, we can see elements from both worlds seamlessly intertwined, where procedural generation collides with exploration-focused design. These games pay homage to their roots while boldly pushing the boundaries of how we classify gameplay experiences. Another facet of this evolving landscape is the impact of indie developers. Many successful indie titles, such as The Binding of Isaac and Enter the Gungeon, revived interest in roguelikes by expanding them with new themes and mechanics. These titles introduced humor, twisted narratives, and art styles that were a departure from traditional ASCII graphics, making the genre more accessible to a wider audience. This wave of revitalized interest also fostered creativity, prompting developers to explore unconventional gameplay mechanics while retaining core roguelike features. Furthermore, we should consider the role of technology in shaping these genres. The advent of modern graphics and algorithms allowed for better procedural generation techniques, leading to richer and more immersive environments. Early roguelikes were limited by the technology of the time, often resulting in simplistic designs. Advancements in software means today's roguelikes and Metroidvanias can craft stunning worlds and complex systems, enhancing player experience dramatically. However, new technology poses its challenges. With so many choices on the market, players face analysis paralysis. Sometimes they can be overwhelmed by the options or find themselves drawn to only the most popular titles, missing out on smaller gems. It opens the door to debates around accessibility and the experience of exploration versus intimidation when first stepping into these complex worlds. Moreover, the community surrounding these genres often plays a vital role. Game forums and streaming platforms have sparked lively discussions about strategies, tips, and design theories. For players, sharing experiences and challenges is central to the roguelike experience. Speedrunning is a fascinating example of how players engage with these games, attempting to complete them in the shortest time possible. Speedrunners dissect game mechanics, discovering and innovating methods to beat the game in record time, offering a different layer of interaction that traditional playthroughs don't provide. As we observe the movement between these genres, there's a sense of a cycle. Roguelike gameplay mechanics can influence other genres, just as Metroidvania designs can seep into roguelikes. For instance, Returnal draws parallels to both roguelikes with its permadeath mechanic and to Metroidvanias with its interconnected world design. This constant crossover nurtures innovation and pushes boundaries, enabling developers to break traditional molds while still paying homage to their inspirations. In this rich tapestry of interconnected gaming genres, we find a vibrant community that continues to grow. Game designers inspired by classic mechanics merge them with modern aesthetics and narratives, producing unforgettable experiences for players. The historical growth and evolution of roguelikes, roguelites, and Metroidvanias encapsulate a dynamic gaming landscape that reflects not just gameplay design, but also changes in technology, culture, and player expectations. One aspect that players might overlook is the psychological impact of roguelikes and Metroidvanias. These games can cultivate resilience, patience, and strategic thinking. The iterative nature of gameplay encourages players to analyze failures critically. Each death becomes a learning moment. Overcoming the challenges posed by these genres can imbue players with a sense of achievement, mirroring life lessons in overcoming obstacles. As we examine the intricacies of these genres, it is essential to appreciate the craftsmanship involved. Game development is a blend of art and science. Every element from character design to procedural generation algorithms plays a role in creating an engaging experience. Understanding what makes a roguelike engaging versus what captures the essence of a Metroidvania opens up a deeper appreciation for the intricate work of developers. Excitingly, as the industry evolves, we see emerging technologies like virtual reality and cloud gaming shaping the future of roguelikes and Metroidvanias. Imagining an immersive roguelike experience in VR, where players step into the dungeon and experience real-time combat, is tantalizing. Likewise, cloud gaming opens up accessibility, allowing players with varying hardware capabilities to partake in these intricate worlds. As we venture forward, aiming continues to break down the barriers of genre and formulates new experiences that challenge our perceptions of interactive storytelling and gameplay. In this spirited landscape, there's much more to explore regarding how the evolution of roguelikes, roguelites, and Metroidvanias melds with player experiences. technological advances, and community engagement. Each step of the journey enriches the understanding of not just what it means to play, but also the personal stories shared within the gaming experience. The beauty of these genres lies in their endless potential, tapping into the human spirit of exploration, resilience, and creativity, spinning tales of heroes and triumph over failure, both in-game and in life. One of the defining characteristics of roguelikes, roguelites, and Metroidvanias is their approach to challenge and progression. At the heart of these gameplay mechanics lies a unique balance between risk and reward. In roguelikes, this often manifests through permadeath, where players lose their characters upon death, necessitating a fresh start. However, this core mechanic introduces a compelling strategic element. Players must decide how far to push their limits, weighing the potential gains of exploring deeper levels against the risk of losing all their hard-earned gear and experience. Take the Binding of Isaac, for instance. This title integrates a wealth of items, powers, and characters that can drastically change gameplay with each run. Here, players are presented with the challenge of mastering a constantly shifting environment, a hallmark of the roguelike genre. The permadeath aspect compels players to refine their skills, adapt strategies, and demonstrate quick thinking. The emotional highs of defeating a boss one more time to unlock a new character or item create lasting engagement, ensuring that each failure is seen as a part of the learning process rather than a setback. Conversely, roguelites often soften the harshness of permadeath by introducing mechanical progression systems. In games like Dead Cells, players can accumulate certain resources that persist after death, allowing them to enhance their characters gradually. This creates a feedback loop where players learn from their experiences while still feeling a sense of growth. The format encourages experimentation with different builds, enabling players to find their preferred playstyle while continually striving to improve. Meanwhile, Metroidvanias present a different relationship with failure and progression. The key mechanics here revolve around exploration, unlocking new regions and abilities that allow players to access previously unreachable areas. In Hollow Knight, for example, players explore a beautifully rendered world filled with hidden locations and challenging enemies. Death is often a minor inconvenience, with players respawning at the closest checkpoint, albeit with the anxiety of losing their collected currency if they fail to reclaim it. This approach encourages exploration and backtracking, as acquiring new abilities often reveals newly accessible paths, embedding a sense of discovery into the gameplay. An intriguing aspect of these genres is their capacity for community-driven content. Many roguelikes and roguelites foster dedicated communities that actively contribute to the game's longevity. Games like Spelunky and Hades benefit immensely from player-created content, mods, and online forums where strategies are discussed and tips are shared. This enhances the overall experience as players come together to collectively overcome challenges. In recent years, the trend of creating roguelike elements rather than pure roguelikes has gained traction. Games like Enter the Gungeon have adopted the addictive, ever-changing nature of roguelikes while incorporating mechanics and presentations that draw from various genres, such as twin-stick shooters. This hybridization not only expands the audience for roguelikes, but also redefines expectations. The venerable roguelike label is becoming less about strict adherence to the original mechanics and more about evoking a feeling of unpredictability and challenge. As we examine these genres further, the impact of storytelling cannot be overlooked. A common trope among successful titles is the integration of rich lore and narrative into their world. While roguelikes traditionally focus on gameplay mechanics over story, many modern iterations have woven narrative elements that deepen players' immersion. Hades, for instance, not only excels in gameplay but also delivers an engaging narrative that unfolds through repeated attempts to escape the underworld. The intertwining of character arcs and choice enriches the player experience, marking a shift towards storytelling that resonates even in failure. Similarly, Metroidvanias have historically relied on environmental storytelling to create a sense of place and history. The design of the map often encapsulates the story within the very fabric of the game, urging players to explore and piece together the narrative through their discoveries. In Celeste, players navigate a treacherous mountain while confronting personal challenges, blending platforming with a story of perseverance. The subtext adds emotional weight to the gameplay, encouraging players to reflect on their progress. These evolving narratives also extend into the realm of player choice. Many contemporary titles in both genres offer players significant agency, resulting in various paths and outcomes. Citizens of the gaming community discuss how choices affect gameplay and narratives, leading to even more personalized experiences. This combination of choice and consequence aligns with broader trends in gaming, where agency is a significant factor in player engagement. Another fascinating development is the exploration of hybrid mechanics emerging from games that blur the lines between genres. Titles like Rogue Legacy introduce light RPG elements, allowing players to invest upgrades across runs, which gives a progression aspect to the roguelike experience. This blend allows for unique strategies and encourages players to develop a preferred gameplay style over time. Such innovations keep the genres dynamic while appealing to a broader audience, inviting new players into the fold. Furthermore, advancements in AI and procedural generation continue to reshape how game levels are designed in roguelikes and related genres. Developers are experimenting with more sophisticated algorithms to create not just randomized layouts, but also intelligent enemy behavior and adaptive difficulty. This evolution translates into games that feel unique each time while remaining balanced and challenging. Some modern titles even personalize gameplay experiences further by utilizing player data. Games like Risk of Rain 2 analyze individual playstyles, adjusting difficulty in real time to maintain engagement. By borrowing insights from player experiences, these games ensure a responsive and tailored environment, pushing the boundaries of traditional design principles. As the landscape shifts, we see a growth in cross-genre experimentation and the melding of different gameplay aesthetics, offering mixed experiences that challenge orthodox definitions. Whether it's roguelikes embracing narrative elements typically reserved for RPGs, or Metroidvanias incorporating roguelike mechanics, the conversation surrounding these genres is vibrant and ongoing. In examining the past and present of these game genres, one can't help but wonder how the future will unfold. With emerging technologies like AI and machine learning advancing rapidly, players may soon encounter dynamically generated narratives that adapt to their specific choices and playstyles. The future could see even more personalized gaming experiences where stories are not just told, but lived. As developers harness new tools and techniques, players can anticipate richer worlds waiting to be explored, further challenging the foundations of genre classification. There's an exhilarating possibility that awaits, one where roguelikes, roguelites, and Metroidvanias flourish in a golden age of innovation and creativity, inviting all to embark on unique journeys shaped by their actions and choices. In this light, the community's role becomes increasingly important. Collaborative efforts in game development and design discussions continue to shape the direction of these genres. Engaging communities propel dialogue around gameplay experiences, effectively influencing future creations. Creating spaces for these conversations ensures that as the genre evolves, it remains grounded in the spirit of exploration, resilience, and creativity that initially defined it. As we voyage further into this realm of gaming, delving into the mechanics, player experiences, and the integral role of community engagement spills forth a wealth of insights. Each corner reflects a piece of a larger puzzle that intertwines the essence of storytelling, artistry, and the interactive nature of games. The evolution of roguelikes, roguelites, and Metroidvanias is not merely a reflection of mechanics, but a testament to the rich tapestry of player engagement and developer ingenuity. An ongoing narrative that begs to be explored. As we wrap up our exploration of roguelikes, roguelites, and Metroidvanias, it's clear that these genres have significantly evolved since their inception. From the foundational mechanics of Rogue to the dynamic, community-driven innovations of today, the emphasis on storytelling, player experience, and gameplay resilience has redefined what it means to embark on a gaming adventure. If you want to go deeper, check out classic roguelikes like NetHack or Angband. To experience the roots of the genre firsthand, explore more contemporary titles such as Hades or Dead Cells to see how roguelike elements can be seamlessly incorporated into modern gameplay. Join online forums or communities focused on these genres to engage with other players, share your experiences, and gain insights into the evolving landscape of game design. Thanks for joining us on this journey through gaming history. Keep exploring and creating your own stories. This podcast was generated by Auto Intellect's Podcaster Generator AI. To generate your own podcasts, check out autointellect.org, linked in the channel.